Welcome back to Marveled Media Podcast, where we talk about all things media, especially Marvel. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts Josh and Alex.
And welcome to episode 9 of Gold or Fold, where today Blake, Josh, and I are going to give our top 7 video games of all time for us personally. So it's going to be 3 separate lists. They're going to be completely different. Most likely, we may have 1 or 2 that bleed into each other's lists, but for the most part, it's our individual ranking. So, Josh, do you want to start us off?
All right, and this is my number 7. I've learned from my past mistakes. Number 7 is a game that I think you guys might not know. I'm curious if you do, but it is Ghost Recon Future Soldier. I don't know if you guys know that game at all.
No.
I feel like I do.
It was like towards the end of like the 360 and PS3 days, so it was like right before the next gen consoles got announced. But this game, dude, if it actually like kicked off, it would have been like changed how shooters are now. I loved the game so much. So it was like a third person shooter. It was based off like the Tom Clancy series. And it had just a lot of just cool features. So like in the multiplayer, so you know how like Call of Duty has their search and destroy mode? Well, they had something like that, but it was in third person and the maps had like interactive environments going on. Like there's one map where a dust storm would come in out of nowhere. So you couldn't see anything that's going on unless if you had equipped like a perk that would allow you to see through the sandstorm. But there was trade-offs. Like most of the times you wouldn't have that perk. So if you didn't have that perk, you're just gone, lost. And you're just hoping that the enemy team didn't have that equipped. So you're like freaking out. It's scary. And you're just fighting. There's like perks where you can have like invisibility camos on. There's a bunch of just interesting guns. Plus, the campaign was really fun. You like commanded a squad of AI going through single player missions. You can tell them to target soldiers all together, and then it would be like, so when you're having like secret missions and you wanted to keep, not get caught or alert enemies, you can tell your AI buddies to kill guys at the same time, so you didn't have to like shoot one dude and the other guy would see. So it was just really fun. I absolutely loved that game. Plus, the game chat was fun. I made a bunch of friends just from that game alone.
I'm trying to think of the ones that I played. I think they were like Tom Clancy's. I know Rainbow
Six. It might have been Rainbow Six. Yeah, that's where like I remember the playing that one came from.
Yeah, I remember playing that one. That game was pretty good. So my number 7 is a Smackdown vs. Raw 2008 on the PS2. Growing up, me and my brother watched WWE a bunch, and like we loved it. So like I played the video games for like a long time, and this was just like the best one. It was fire. Like there's a GM mode where you could like be on SmackDown or Raw, and just like I said, I just grew up. I liked wrestling, so like it's more just like a kind of personal, nostalgic kind of game that and I grew up on like the PS2. Like I didn't play like the Xbox, and I actually went from PS2 to PS3, and then I got a 360, and then I think I got a 4, and then I got like an Xbox One and like all that stuff. But yeah, so I grew up mainly on the PS2 games, and this was definitely one of like my favorite ones.
I also have a WWE one, but it's not 2008. It's until my 6th one. But for my 7th, I have a small game called Jack 2 from the PlayStation 2, made from
I thought about that. That was one I almost put on mine.
It was a really good game. You play as Jack, and you have Dexter. I forget what he is. He's like supposed to be like a normal person, but he gets mutated into this like, I don't know what it is. It's a weird thing. I'll probably have it on
kind of like
screen.
A kangaroo in a way.
It's a very small kangaroo because he like stands on Jack's shoulder. Yeah, and I played all of them, but I think my favorite one for sure is the second one, where Jack is in the city, and he has like the ability to switch, from his normal state to his like raged out mode. Dude, I remember like playing this. I think I was like 7 or 8 years old when I first played it. Seeing like the cutscene where like Jack is like strapped in that like metal chair, and then all of a sudden he's like he goes like gray and black, and he's just yelling. I'm like, damn, like that was the first scene in the game. I'm like, okay, I'm in, because before that was the first game. I can't remember. It's like the precursor or something like that. But it was a much lighthearted game. But 2, oh my god, dude, 2 was insane. It was, I think the first one was rated E for everyone, and then Jack and Dexter 2 was teen, and then 3 was it just kind of got like more graphic and more violent as the series went on. But dude, Jack and Dexter 2 plus flying, like you would have to jump onto like these flying cars, knocking people off of those so that you can drive one of those was the most satisfying thing ever. It was fun. It was GTA before GTA for me.
I love those games. I used to play those too.
I think I only played one like for a bit. I remember I bought, like when I was a kid, I used to always go to Best Buy with my dad, and then I would save money up and I'll just buy random games that just had cool covers. And I know I bought one of those, but I don't remember if I actually played it that much or not. So respect that.
Yeah, 3 was in like the desert. So that might be the one that you have, because like maybe. I remember that cover being like cool because you see like Jack in the desert. I think that's the one that you may have gotten, but either way, that series is dope. I love it.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to go into my number 6. And this, honestly, looking at my list, this is probably the newest game on my list. And that is Overwatch. And that came out in 2016. Dude, Overwatch for some reason is like a guilty pleasure, okay? It is a cringy game majority of the time. The people that play on there are like the geekiest geeks in the world. But I just, you know me, I'm literally banned on Xbox right now from talking to people because I love talking shit. And that game is so toxic. It is the most toxic game I've ever played. It's more toxic than 2K's community. You just go in there in chat. If you're ass, they're going to let you know you're ass. Even if you're not ass, you're going at each other. You fight with your team more than you do the enemy team. And it's just, I love it. It's fun. It's great. I still play it to this day, even though it came out in 2016. And then the second one has a beta coming out in the summer. So I'm definitely excited for that.
Oh, yeah, I definitely will play that too then. I didn't know there was a second one coming soon.
Yeah, because Microsoft bought out Blizzard, which makes it.
That's right.
Yeah, so like I guess now since Microsoft is going to own it, they're trying to get it out as soon as possible, so Microsoft doesn't just cut it.
Now Overwatch is fun. I used to play that too, but now that there's a second one, definitely will be playing that as well.
Yeah, for sure. I remember playing it like a couple years ago, but I haven't played it in a long time.
Same. It's been a while for me too. My number 6 is on the Wii. Everybody had a Wii at some point in their life. It is Mario Super Slugger, which was a Mario baseball game, and I just thought it was dope because like you basically were like on a big map, and you'd have to go to like different areas and like beat characters like in these little mini games and like in their own like terrain in order to like recruit them to your team. And then it was all like leading up to like a big baseball game against Bowser. It was actually like the mini games were fun. Like going to like the map was pretty big and there's a pretty good amount of characters, and like there'd be like star powers for like hitting home runs that they would do like certain things and celebrations and stuff. It was pretty dope. I had to put at least one Mario game on here just because Mario and the Wii were fire, and there's a lot of good ones, but this is the one, again, just because I played this a bunch when I was younger, that I was like, just because of that factor, that this is the one that had to make my list at number 6.
Dude, Mario sports games are great. They're fantastic.
The soccer one that they had, too. I think that was even on, like, the Nintendo 64.
Well, that was also on, I think the newest version of soccer was GameCube, right? Because I know that's what Justin had it on GameCube, and we played it all the time.
Yeah, I think it was.
That would get intense.
Yeah, that game was fire. That was dope. But that's why I said I had to put one Mario game up here. He's an OG. Everybody had a Wii growing up, so had to put one up.
Totally forgot about those.
Respect. All right, so my number 6 is a WWE game, SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, with Batista and John Cena on the cover, dude. I remember playing that game almost every day after school. I would always go and play it, and then I'd play through like my career mode, if that's, I don't think that's what it was called, but it was very early on in the process for those games. But what I liked most about it was just, creating a bunch of random shit and just having them all like fight in a Royal Rumble. Yeah, it was fun, dude. I remember just I would literally spend more hours like creating like random people just to have them fight. Like I have like fucking Ronald McDonald fight like the Burger King guy.
Laura, give it to the king. Did you say gasoline?
I loved it, dude. I think in terms of games played on the PS2, because that's what I have it for. I think that game I put in the most hours alone. Like,
bro,
out of
WWE has the best. WWE has the best player creator, man. You can edit that thing so far.
Yeah,
those games used to be a bunch of fun, and like they'd have like little storylines like you could go through as like your character of like going for a championship or whatever, and you could also do like you'd play like historic matches of like HBK versus like Bret Hart and like do stuff like that to like win like unlockable stuff. Like WWE used to be fun.
Yeah, but that was back when THQ was a company and before 2K bought.
Dude, THQ made so many great games.
Yeah.
You guys ever play their off-road ATV? And I forgot what else it was called, but it had like ATV and like motorbikes basically.
Yeah, I think it was like
familiar.
Yeah.
And if you got on the motorbike and you drove way too far to the ends of the map, it would literally boot you in the air and send you
like,
flying
kick you
back.
Yeah,
Dude,
I
I've
don't
just
remember what they were
played
called.
it for hours on the PS2, just nonstop, just because I thought it was so funny that I'd see how far it could boot me and see if I could get a new record every time. Well, okay, so going into my number 5, this is actually the second like online game I've ever played in my life. So this is my very second one, and that is Halo Reach. Halo Reach is a classic and holds a special place in my heart because, like I said, it was only the second online game I ever played. As well as it was the peak of Halo for sure. I know a lot of people argue that Halo 3 was, but Halo Reach had armor customization. I mean, if you saw guys have certain armor, you just knew you were going to have to respect them in the game because they earned it and that they're going to just absolutely destroy you if you weren't good enough. So I definitely enjoy the fact that armor was kind of earned rather than bought or just, just a level really that you would reach. As well as it had Forge mode, which is just had so many custom games you could have. You could have racing in it, so it was like a racing game, as well as like you'd have little modes like cops and robbers. So I really enjoyed that, as well as it was home to my cringy moments as a middle schooler. I remember some things. I would put like my crush's name in my Forge map.
What do you mean by that?
Because hey, that's me as a middle schooler, just being a little cringy boy. So that's why I had to put Halo Reach on there, man. I had to.
What?
Oh my god.
I respect that. Like I said, I grew up on like more PlayStation, so like I didn't really get too big into Halo at any point. Like I went over to my friend James's house and he had Xbox and we'd play them. But I just remember we'd play Griff Ball, I think was the name of the one.
Yeah, Griff Ball with the gravity hammers.
Yeah, I remember we would just mess around on that online. But that was like the extent of my Halo gaming when I was younger.
Dude, I took Griff Ball serious. I would play that a lot, and I would literally be sweating on a game mode that's supposed to be just chill. But I was like, no, we gotta win because it was like a little sports mode.
Okay, so I'll go with my number 5. This one is legendary game. It ended up being an amazing movie as well. Came out a while ago. This is World of Warcraft is my number 5. I used to play World of Warcraft all the time, me, my brother, and my neighbor. Except the thing is, I never had a World of Warcraft account. Our neighbor did. So, like, we'd go to his house and, like, we each had our own characters, and we'd basically just switch off, like, playing on the PC of, like, doing, like, stuff on WoW. And, like, the other two might be, like, playing some kind of whatever Call of Duty was out at the time, as, like, one person's on the computer, and then just, like, rotating like that throughout the night. But yeah, WoW was great. I mean, it had, like, a solid run for me that, like, probably 3 to 4 years, like, Like I remember like winter breaks, we were just all hyped because we'd like build like forts outside in the snow, and then as soon as it got like dark, we just go inside and just play WoW the rest of the night. But I loved it. It was great. Dang. It's the only PC game I really ever played in my life. Yeah, it was fire.
Did you enjoy the movie? Because it's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I
honestly liked it. I don't think it's that bad. I thought it was pretty solid. Like I know it gets a lot of hate, but I thought it was pretty solid.
No, I enjoyed it. One day I watched it by myself.
Yeah. Right, like I was like, that's one of the ones that I was like, people are hating on this. Like I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that about you though, that you played it that much.
Yeah, we used to grind that pretty heavy.
So for my number 5 is the first and the only fighting game I have on here is Mortal Kombat 9. It's the game that introduced me to fighting games. Dude, it was great. I fucking loved it. It was, what's this? I think it came out in 2011. So I was like 11 years old. I remember playing it for the first time and just having people come over. We'd have like tournaments. I have like cousins just come up and be like, okay, 1v1. And that game is the only game that has tag teams. So you can have 4 people playing at once. So you have two on one team, 2 on another, and just fight. It was just fun. It was definitely like, I call it like the gathering game. And it's like the most fun when you have a bunch of people there and you're just doing like tournaments. It's fun, dude. I still love this game to this day.
I'm surprised that you don't have Injustice up there.
No, I don't have Injustice. I mean, it's
fun.
It
was a more fun party game. So I agree with you on that.
No,
one.
It definitely is.
Dude, because you can pull like fatalities on people.
True. Yeah, it is like more graphic. And
the only time it's not a fun party game is when like you have the one friend that's absolutely demolishing everyone, and then you're just like you get humbled the entire time. So.
Yeah, they like know all like the player moves and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, what is this guy's pulling out like a ridiculous combo on me? I don't even know what to do. I definitely respect that. It's probably one of the like the Mortal Kombat series is probably like the second best of like a fighting like in that kind of way game. Obviously, number 1. Didn't make my list, unfortunately, but if you guys remember Shrek Superstar Battles.
Who? Well, talking about Mortal Kombat, Alex, did you ever play the DC versus Mortal Kombat game?
Yeah, it's okay.
It wasn't like great, but it was more of like the first time like, yo, DC characters being involved. But I mainly remember from that game is online. I have never been more humbled in my life than playing that game. I would be like, okay, I'm solid with this character. And there was a mode, it was King of the Hill. So it would have one guy that, you got to beat. And if he keeps winning, he stays the king, and it would rotate in a lobby, which, by the way, that's a pretty darn cool feature to put in a fighting game. I mean, it kind of makes you flex saying, yeah, I'm the man. And I remember this guy, he was Bane. And he had a 20 game win streak on all of us. That man, we just kept going in, and it was like real life Bane just beating the shit out of you for hours, and we just took it for some reason. Me and Mitchell, we just kept taking it, and we just could not beat that fucker, bro. I just remember. It lives rent free in my head still to this day.
Any Mortal Kombat game that you play, if you're not like 100% sure that you can go up against other people that have been like sweating on the game, you're gonna get humbled like 90% of the time. It's insane, especially if they know what they're doing. They use like a person that has like these weird command grabs or like projectiles that you just keep you away. You're done.
Yep. And you just know they know their fatality too, and you're done.
Oh Facts.
Yeah. Or they like teabag you.
So going and talking about cheese, my number 4 is okay. I'm curious how Blake's going to think about this one. I was in between 2, but I chose NBA 2K16 over NBA 2K17. And the reason why is because I enjoyed both. Both have special memories, but 2K16 was when they introduced the park affiliations. And then 17 kind of just literally copied the same maps and just made a night mode for it. Plus, NBA 2K17 had the annoying Paul George screen that would just be locked on for literally 30 minutes.
Yeah,
you have to clear the reserve space.
Yep.
Also, that's when the archetypes got introduced, was 2K17. because I was looking at the My Player builders. And I was like, I remember 2K16. My guy was like straight up a D-Wade like copycat build, because I remember he was great at shooting, dunking, and then had like lockdown perimeter defense. Basically, I've been making the same guy for sneaking years now, and I can't escape it. And I always wonder, man, I can't shoot as great as the other guys. I wonder why. But 2K16, that was the peak of 2K Park, in my opinion. You had the park affiliations, and there was actual beef about that, because they had like the modes where you get double XP if you won. Also, like the park that won at the end of like 2K's like season, that's who gets a new park in the next 2K. So it was kind of like a big deal of like trying to get a new park to play in for your team. And so it was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. You also can go to different like parks to like with your friends and kind of just beef, you know, in game with the other park people. So also the soundtrack for that game was fire.
Facts. 2K fell off. Hate to see it.
Yeah, the park fell off for sure.
I mean, yeah, definitely can't even load in games anymore. So for my number 4, I went with MW2, the best Call of Duty of all time.
Bless up.
I mean, there's not much 1v1 me on Rust, High Rise. There's just the intervention.
High Rise, thank you.
There's so many just good maps and guns on that MW2 is just, I mean, it's the best. The storyline, like the campaign, was actually fun and good. It's the best COD of all time, and that's my number 4.
It's by far the best one. So
right.
100% agree. Okay, so my number 4 is a more recent game. Well, I think it came out in 2018. It is Red Dead Redemption 2. Fucking love that game, dude. Just like when they introduced, when they announced that they were gonna do like Red Dead Redemption 2, Red Dead Redemption 1 was like 2012. I want to say 2011.
I think it was actually 2010.
Yeah, it was a while.
Red Dead Redemption 1.
It was a while because it was still on the old gen. But Red Dead Redemption 2 is fun. The story mode is great. The graphics for a PS4, because that's what I played it on, was insane. The game looks amazing. Riding a horse and lassoing people and just dragging them across half of like what's one of those cities? There's like bricks on like, you know, actually paved, whereas like the majority of the map is like just grassland. In that place, lassoing a person and just dragging them across the bricks is the funniest shit ever. And then Red Dead Online is just, it's toxic, dude. You'd be like trying to do like these like short story missions, you know, for your character to like level them up, and you just get lassoed by a person that just does not give a shit. And I'm like, great. I'm like trying to buy some like clothes and stuff, and then this guy just shoots the vendor. I'm like, oh, well, I'm stuck.
Affected.
I think it's funny you said Red Dead 2, because I almost put the first Red Dead Redemption, because I played a lot of that as my number 7, because the multiplayer on that mode, dude, because you could like create posses with your friends, and you would have like gang turf wars, which just in free mode with other posses. And there was one fort that you could take over that had cannons on there. So you would have posse cowboy wars in this fort just going on for hours. And then like posses would change because obviously you're playing for a while. So then like people would join and leave, and then like the power shift, and then there'd be a power struggle. And they also introduced zombies to Red Dead Redemption 1. And it was really hard because if someone died, the zombies would basically double their health. So then you just try to survive just like these tank zombies. Every single one is a tank, and you're just running with your cowboy stuff. Also, the character models in Red Dead 1 were hilarious. Like the game, when you first started off, they made you ride a donkey. So you had to like earn a horse, and the donkey was really slow. It was like barely faster than running. They also would randomly put like god weapons in the map. So you would just run, you'd just be on your horse vibing, and out of nowhere, you and your horse just got obliterated and exploded from just a random power shell. And you're like, how did that just happen? So I love that.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. You know, it's just I think I would have loved it more if like I had like more friends play it. You know, and you can just go online and just, you know, fuck shit up in your own like gang. But
Right.
You know, the story itself it's a really good game. I think it won an award, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I think so. I think it did win, like, because it has like their I forgot what the award show is called, but yeah, it won. I think it won Game of the Year for Red Dead did. But all right, I'm gonna move on to my third one, and I'm curious. Once again, I don't know if you guys know this game or not, but this is my first introduction to when I had my own. I had like this piece of crap, like from 2006 PC, and I played Gary's mod Trouble in Terrace Town, and this is my second most played game of all time. Because like if you just watch, I used to watch YouTube videos as a kid, and all I would watch is Gary's mod Trouble in Terrace Town. So I only wanted a PC ever in my life so I could play this game, and it's just so much fun. You go in random lobbies, and you guys both shook your head, so I assume that means you don't know what Trouble in Terrace Town. So the game mode is Gary's mod is just like a mod from Half-Life. So it uses like Half-Life models. It's another game, and this Trouble in Terrace Town mode is like you'd have a bunch of people in there. There would be a couple traders amongst everyone. It's a shooter game, so you have and no one would know who the traders are besides the traders. And then sometimes there's also would be a detective, and everyone would know who the detective is, and everyone else is just innocent. You're just trying to find the traders. The traders are going to try to kill everyone to win the game, and that's just kind of how it is. So you're like in chat, you're talking to everyone. Everyone's kind of going at each other. I remember when like I would be detective, I would tell everyone to just line up. And, like, these are just random people, so they got no reason to listen to you, but some reason they did. I'll just be like screaming on my mic. I'm like, everyone line up right now. I was having lined up, and I was like, I would ask each person. I would have like a Desert Eagle in my hand, and I asked them, "Do you trust me?" And then depending what they answered would mean if I shot them in the head and killed them or not. So you just have funny moments like that, you know, and I would just kill him. And whether he was innocent or not, I wouldn't even check the body. I was just like, I didn't trust him. And then everyone was like, understandable. And then I'd go to the next guy. Do you trust me? And then depending on their answer and their tone, I would kill him or not. And it's just a fun community. It's still really fun. And sometimes some people would like take it too serious, like, but if you just enjoy it as a base of the game, I really love it. Plus the YouTube videos on it were just so funny to me as a kid. And even now, sometimes I'll watch it occasionally.
To me, it sounds like a better version of Among Us.
Yeah, basically.
Right. Yeah. It also reminds me of, I don't remember the actual game that people play that's like similar to that, like in real life in a way where like it's
like Mafia or Terrace.
Yeah, Mafia. That's what I was thinking.
That's kind of like what it is. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
Also, like the traders would have like equipment, like you could like jihad someone, so you can literally would be your guy screaming, and then you just blow up and you try to kill as many people as you can, including yourself. And then you could also plant C4s. And then like there would be funny moments where like I would plant a C4 and a guy just walks in the room and he sees me planting and I'm just like looking at him. He's looking at me and I just would be whispering to Mike, shh, and he'd just leave. You know, he easily could just be like, "Yo, this guy planted a bomb," but no, he just walks away like nothing happened. So you just have funny interaction with just other gamers.
No, like those games like where you actually have like you talk to everybody is like actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Instead of just like your party. So moving into my top three. Number 3, 2K16. I mean, we used to grind this game like literally because this came out before we had jobs and stuff. It was like around 8th grade freshman year. We didn't have jobs. Literally every day of summer, like day and night, we'd be in park just grinding, playing kids. Just making funny characters, like build-wise, that were just meant for certain things, dressing them funny, making, you know, matching stuff, like just stuff like that. It's just probably one of the last really good 2K17 was solid too. But in terms of like actual just fun with like, you know, like the party, like the three of us that played, it was so much fun. 2K, that definitely is like one of the best 2Ks and obviously a top 3 game for me.
That's where we had to protect the nest, where we dressed up as like D-Wade, LeBron, and Chris Bosh of all people. Yeah.
And the All-Star mode was fun.
Yeah.
The game's just great.
Plus, people would actually talk in the game chat.
Right.
We would, yeah. I mean, that's where I experienced racism. You know, the amount of times I got called the N-word was insane. And I would have to say, I'm white. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry to disappoint, but
sorry to disappoint you.
Yeah,
it's like Spider-Man. It's like
is it working?
Damn, I thought you'd be black. Sorry to disappoint.
My bad.
Yeah. 2K was just great back then.
Okay, so then my number 3 is the Batman Arkham City game. Came out in 2011.
Okay.
I think it has like 4 games in that series, but I just remember this one in particular. It was so like seeing it on the shelf. It was like just out there. It was like the white and then like the Batman with like the bloody fist. It was
the best game cover.
Yeah, it was really good. And then just playing it just for the first time, because this is the first game I played in the series, so I didn't play Asylum and I didn't play Origins. I ended up playing Arkham Knight later on, but Arkham City is just, it felt like the experience of playing it for the first time. It's like, dude, I'm fucking Batman. I can just go around and just like absolute obliterate the people like goons, and just like it was fun, dude. And then I will say the most annoying thing was trying to get all of like the Riddler trophies. That shit was impossible. Let me just say it. I ended up with like 75% completion on that game. I could not find I think I was like 50 or 60 trophies left in order to complete the game. I'm like, ain't no way. It was too much. It was too much. But it's just like the way it plays, you know, you can parry. Batman's literally flying. Like there could be a person 10 feet away from you. He just like super punches somebody, catapults off of them to someone else. It's like, dude, this was like the epitome of how a Batman game should play. And they perfected it in Arkham Knight, but to me, Arkham City is just like where it all began for me. I love that game. It's still probably my favorite Arkham game.
Well, yeah. Plus, also the nice thing about the Arkham series, like that was like the first successful like superhero game series. Because like before that, it was just the Spider-Man games on the PS2. Because I remember they made 3 of them, but they weren't actually like good as like a series. They're more just movie games that they made, kind of like a bit of a joke. They'd make fun of the movies. But yeah, the Batman Arkham series was the first, as far as I'm aware, that like successful superhero game trilogies.
Yeah, and the combos and like how you could, you know, like counter attacks and stuff like that throughout that series was just dope too.
And the story was solid. The Joker in there.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, personally, I think I like Origins and Asylum better. Those ones are my favorite ones, but that whole series in general is just good.
It is good, yeah.
Okay, so to go into I'm on my top 2 now. My number 2, I know 1,000% you guys zero chance know this game. This game is the reason why my favorite genre of video games is strategy games. Because I love strategy games because
we all know
you got it to
say.
Yeah,
we all know what game this is.
What game? What game
Balloons
do you think it is?
Tower Defense.
No, it's not. It's not. But that's a solid series though. But it's Supreme Commander 2. This is an obscure game that came out on the Xbox 360. I remember somehow I found this game at Best Buy. I bought it and I played it. And then I was like, to my buddy Tony, I was like, hey, you should get this game. Got Tony in this game. Then we found some random guys online and we played for one summer. We played every single day for the whole summer. And we would play 6 to 8 hours. We did not get off those 6 to 8 hours. It would be 6 to 8 hour matches because the game would allow it. You would have a 250 unit cap. So it was a real time strategy game. So that means you didn't have to wait turns. It was straight up. Everything was happening real time. So you your opponent was coming at you with moves, you would have to counter it with your units, and you can make any unit you want. You just had a 250 unit cap, so your 360 wouldn't like brick. It was just crazy that game even ran on there. But you also could build nuke silos, defense nuke silos. So if your guy's sending you could send 50 nukes at a dude, and if he doesn't have enough anti-nukes, you just watch this guy's city and all he's been building for 8 hours just get nuked to obliteration. You'd have giant mech battles going on. So it was like Titanfall going in the middle of the map, while you also have tiny air units battling each other. It is by far one of my favorite strategy games, and is the reason why I love strategy games, because it's just a battle of minds. You want to outsmart your opponent, and you just feel like a god when you beat that man and humble him.
Balloons Tower Defense sounds better. Yeah, no idea what that. I mean, like I said, I didn't start on the 360, so I've never heard of it, and so a lot of those 360 games I didn't play. But yeah, never even heard of it.
Yeah, me neither. I've been PlayStation pretty much the entire time until recently, where I now have both. But
odd flex, but okay. Moving on to my number 2. I'm gonna go with a game that everybody knows. It is my most current game on my list, and it's whatever. Fortnite was OG peak Fortnite. For that run, it had probably 2 to 3 years. It was everywhere, YouTube, Twitch, everything. That game, peak Fortnite, is by far one of the best things game-wise we've had in a long time. I mean, yeah, I know there's a lot of people now that try to hate on Fortnite, but I'm at the end of the day, when that game was at its peak, everybody was playing it. That's all everybody talked about, even at school and stuff like that. It took over YouTube, Twitch. I mean, Ninja and all those guys, how huge they got. No other game has done that to a creator. Drake was playing it, that kind of stuff. It completely took over the world. Every game now is pretty much a battle royale. Obviously, this wasn't the first one, but this is by far the most popular. Yeah, OG Fortnite during that original 2 to 3 year span is untouched and phenomenal.
I respect
it was definitely fun.
You're telling the truth.
Yeah, I mean, it's undeniable. That game's peak was above everything else.
Yeah, they changed how a lot of games run now.
Right. Every game has a battle royale that comes out. Almost every game.
Dude, I still remember me and you playing Fortnite back when the game was on the iPhone, and we play it at school mobile. With other people. Yeah. It was fun,
that's what I'm saying. That game was a global phenomenon. That's all everyone talked about. And it was worth the hype during that 3 to 2 year span, whatever it was, that it was as good as it was unmatched.
Yeah, it was definitely fun because I remember we'd play, I think it was me, you, and Jordan were in McNally's class, and we just played trios, or we get somebody else in the class to also play with us. Dude, it was fun, man. It's been a couple of years, but yeah, peak Fortnite, fire.
Yeah, for sure. It was untouchable.
Okay. So for my number 2 it's close to the Batman Arkham City in terms of style, but it's with probably my favorite Marvel character, SpiderMan PS4, dude. I still remember playing that game. It's fire, dude. It's the experience of being Spider-Man. Fucking great. I love that game. When they announced that, I was like, interesting. I wonder how they're gonna do it. Because growing up, I played a bunch of Spider-Man games. I played Spider-Man 2. I played Spider-Man Web of Shadows. I played Spider-Man, the Ultimate one where it has like Venom on the cover too. That one I probably played the most. But Spider-Man PS4 overall, like the swinging mechanics, the way it has the map kind of similar to the Batman Arkham games, which is kind of where it takes a lot of the ideas that Arkham did, and it just makes it special in the way that it works for Spider-Man. He has different types of web shooters, the ones that just shoot like random web bombs. He has a bunch of shit. The story was great. I think it won an award too. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. and just a free play, like grinding the whole story, the campaign, which is long. I remember it took me a while to complete the game, and even then, there's a bunch of side quests. There's a lot to do, and you're just swinging in different suits as Spider-Man across New York. I don't know. It just lived out like the dream of being Spider-Man. It's like that game is the closest that I got to it. So it has a, personal spot in my heart. Game's fucking good. And it looks great.
And the acting by the original actor for it, dude. I mean, his emotion with the scenes when he felt betrayed by Doc Ock, you just felt that. And also the Aunt May scene almost got me tearing up, bro. He killed it. For a video game to show that much raw emotion from your face is incredible.
Dude, and we got to see like a form of the Sinister Six at the raft when he's fighting all of them.
Yes.
At night in the rain. I remember seeing that as like a promotional thing. I'm like, dude, you're gonna be fighting these guys? I'm like, damn. It was, yeah. I can still remember it, and just saving like the plane or like the helicopter from crashing, and then him landing on it. It's great. I love that game.
Just wait till we get the Sinister Six in a movie led by Morbius.
Yes, baby. God. Yes, baby. So, this is my number one. Now, before I go into this one, this will forever, for the rest of my life, be the number one game. Nothing will ever pass this, as it is peak video game history. It is a video game at its best. It created the gaming just industry as it is today, as well as the community. It was the peak Xbox Live chat, peak PS3 chat. Also, I put 40 plus days worth of playtime in this game, which is almost 1,000 hours, by the way. And that is Modern Warfare 2. Okay, this Xbox chat, you see all the meme montages, and literally over 3/4 of those clips will be from Modern Warfare 2. This was the origins of the trick shot. You had the silence intervention shot with the throwing knife where it would go sideways. You have the 360. You have the jumping off the Teddy Bear Island and high rise with the cranes. All that going on. The map design is still by far peak Call of Duty. This was their best-selling COD when it came out, and it was so good that when even Black Ops came out, it still had top amazing numbers going out. Which that just doesn't happen with Call of Duty. When a new COD comes out, the previous one dies off pretty fast. Right. Modern Warfare 2 stayed relevant even when Modern Warfare 3 came out. Which, by the way, fuck you, Modern Warfare 3. If you like Modern Warfare 3, off yourself. That game was ass compared to Modern Warfare 2. Besides the campaign, MW3 had a great conclusion, but the multiplayer was not the same. Right. MW2, amazing campaign. I mean, you had obviously the controversial No Russian, which is this... Dude, the fact they did that, and like as a kid, you don't even realize what you're doing. And then it took like years later, everyone's posting, like on TikTok, like we did that as a kid and just didn't mind it one bit. But also that scene was great because in the end, you get shot. Well, you get like pushed out and shot and then blamed, which then causes more conflict going on. Also, then when Russia like attacks the White House, you have that amazing cut scene going on where you see everything in flames. Everything's under attack. It was just a fire scene. Also the multiplayer, the guns were great. It was the only multiplayer game still to this date where I grinded. I got everything unlocked. I mean, I got the Master Prestige. It was 10th Prestige, then when you prestiged, you got reset everything. It was a fresh reset. I did that. You'd have custom lobbies where you'd play Michael Myers. That's where that game mode came in. I forgot what else. You also could even play cops and robbers with that. Yeah, you could pretend to play even zombies. Like, it was just... You also had Burger Town, too, and that was the origin of that. You had a Spec Ops mode where you play little mini missions with your friends, and you have to fight juggernauts. That is the peak of gaming. It was where FaZe Clan came from, too, and also, like, Optic Gaming. And those guys are huge. I mean, those are the biggest just gaming, I guess, like,
organization
you could say. I mean, like those guys came because of MW2, so that's by far my number one.
MW2 is goated, just amazing.
And literally the only game to even come close, like you said, would be Fortnite. I say to change the gaming industry. So like those are the top 2 game changers.
100%.
Well, since you said it, I'm gonna say it too. It's also my number one, and the reason why it's not my number one, dude, I kid you not, every day for an entire summer, I didn't have this game because I didn't have an Xbox, but my neighbor did. So every day in the summer, I would always go over to his house and we'd play it. Sometimes he'd even have his cousins come over and we just have like a full on like game session of just Modern Warfare 2. We just play it. I remember like I would, just because we like felt like, okay, since we actually wanted to play multiplayer a lot, so what we would do is one of us would be on the controller and the other one would be on the headset. One of us would be just talking shit the entire fucking time.
The shit talking in that game. I would play Search and Destroy.
Yeah.
So you have to shit talk.
Yeah, it would get intense.
Yeah, the amount of like curse words that was said in those moments, insane. I remember I think that's the game where I shit talk the most. It's so ingrained into my brain. I still remember like playing it, and then obviously playing like zombies when you have 4 people trying to survive. I love that game. Every day in the summer, I would go over and play with my neighbor. So it's fun. Dude, I love that game.
Yeah, I had one moment where so like the nice thing about that, when you played Search and Destroy, I mean like your teammates, if you did something crazy, would just go crazy in the game chat. Like they're just hyping you up. I would do where I'd have a riot shield. All I would have is a riot shield, one-man army, smoke grenades, and claymores in
So
Search
toxic.
and Destroy high rise. Well, because I played it so much, so I'd have a bunch of just tactics, and this was my one that was like, everyone like, what the hell is this guy doing? I'm just like, watch me. And so I would use the smoke screens to distract the guy, right? I would force them. They were just, there's like fucking fish, bro. They just like see something happen, they just go after it. So I throw the smoke grenade, the enemy goes over to it, and then I'll throw one and I'll hide in this room and I'll just place a claymore and a riot shield. And so they'll come in, and if the claymore doesn't blow them up, I just beat them to death in smoke. So they don't know where it's going to happen. I'm like Batman saying I'm vengeance. I'm just beating this guy down. One time I beat a whole lobby doing that in high rise. And then of course your team, they're just going crazy. They're just laughing and dying in game chat. I love that game.
I'm vengeance.
Oh my god. Dude, that game was so good. I love it. Plus, like, the cover.
True. The cover was nice.
Yeah, it was fire.
Rust was goated. My number one is, I started with a PS2 game. Gotta end with a PS2 game. This game was my childhood. Constantly playing it online. Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the PS2 is the greatest game of all time. Just even from like back then, just like the online multiplayer was so good. You could be like a Jedi. They had like this cool map that was like a space battle kind of. Like you'd be able to get in planes and like fly into the other teams. Like they'd have their own huge like cruiser you could like fly into. And there's like like turret guns on the outside you could shoot while they're flying. Star Wars Battlefront 2 for PS2 is just, I don't know why you don't just remake that game. Just literally take everything you did, just make it so it looks newer, and put it out. Quit trying to change and do all this other bullshit with all the Battlefronts they've been doing. Like, that game is so good. It was so ahead of its... That game came out in like 2005, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like the online and everything was phenomenal. The game modes were so much fun. It's just goated. I love that game. Easily, if I could go back and play any game, that would be the one. Like if I could do like a remastered, 100%, I'll pay whatever.
Yeah, that game had a lot. I played that a bunch too, because even the campaign allowed you to like change the story up if you wanted to from the movies. And then also they even had like a turn-based strategy mode where you pick your cruiser ship and you'd go and you'd be battling for each of the planets in the solar system.
Right.
So yeah,
it was just you could play like the one mode where like if you were doing good enough, like you would then turn into like a Jedi or something like that, and then like be fighting people. All of a sudden you'd be running around, and you see somebody show up as like Darth Maul, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like, get me out of here. It was just, that game is so good. I wish they did an actual, just like I said, take that game, just reskin it so it looks, like newer. Put it out. Like, don't change anything else up. It was fucking phenomenal. Favorite game of all time. Love it.
Yeah, that game makes like the 2 more recent Battlefront games look like absolute ass.
Garbage.
Yeah.
So bad.
They were making a
EA
third one for it. But that's when Lucasfilms, that's when they like went bankrupt. And that was like a couple years after. That's when like Disney bought them over, and then EA bought the rights for the video games. But they were making a third one that was a combination of, I don't know if you played the first Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah.
But that one had where it was actually like you had the planes and all the vehicles were in the maps too. So you would have air and ground battles going on at the same time.
Right.
So they were doing a combination of the two. So there would be, basically it was going to be Star Wars Battlefield before that was a thing. And they had some clips on YouTube about it, and it looked like it was going to be an outstanding game, but it got cut because they went bankrupt.
What a shame. Just such a good series. I wish Battlefront 2 came back.
Yeah, the more recent Battlefront 2 is... I played it.
It's better than the first one EA released.
It is, sure. But it's not like... It's not Battlefront 2
like
the OG.
No.
Yeah.
Not
at all. I would say like my final thing on this whole list is I find it interesting that like GTA didn't make an appearance on anyone's list.
I almost did GTA 4 as my number 7. I had a lot of issues for my number 7, but GTA 5 wasn't anywhere close on my list.
No, I had Red Dead, but I don't know. To me, I feel like the aesthetic of being like in the Wild West, just I don't know. It felt more like it should make my list, especially since I played it a lot over GTA. So
yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I don't know. I feel like GTA, especially 5, has been such a big thing for such a long time.
Yeah, they keep remastering.
Anyone else would have it on? Yeah, I know.
GTA 4 is better than GTA 5. I don't know if you guys ever played GTA 4, but it...
Yeah, I think I've pretty much played them all.
Yeah, GTA 4, the multiplayer for that, the free roam was more fun because you got assigned like a color dot or whatnot, and you could actually like go up to guys. You didn't own anything. You would just spawn in with whatever. They also had a cops and robbers mode in that, like an actual dedicated, you play as a police officer.
I remember that.
And it was really fun. And then the free roam was just more fun experience because it had in-game chat. Also, you could just drive up to somebody. You'd find there's like hidden vehicles in the map, and you could drive up. If you honk to somebody, you wouldn't just get shot right away. Honk was a sign of peace. But like GTA 5 is just like a fuck fest going on in the free roam. It's just not fun. You have to grind so much to even have an ounce of fun in that game. And just not.
Yeah, that was my final takeaway from this. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to add here.
I'm surprised that Alex had the most story games. Seems like Alex likes story games a lot more than Blake and I.
When I was making, I'm like, damn, I have a lot of like first person, like open world games or semi open world games. I'm like, yeah, maybe I like those games. And I do. I don't know. I just felt like being a certain character and customizing them and just fucking shit up. It's fun to me.
All right, well, I think that wraps up this episode. Make sure to leave a like, comment down below if you liked any of our games or if we forgot any games. Be sure to check out our TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Be on the lookout for our videos as Moon Knight's still going on at this time, so we'll have Moon Knight videos coming out. And every Tuesday we have our normal videos. And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.